Hey, good evening, everybody. Bruce Foster here, Jetski Republic. That was a video from the weekend. Jeff Lakeford and the guys that were out on or the guys and the girls that were out on the singles ride up to Morton Island. Left on Sunday, and yeah, multiple ramps. There was a few people out apparently. They had a good get together and proved that popular that they're planning to do some more rides together. And they've got a little get-together planned for, I think it's next month. Not jet ski related, but just a little hangout together, a social event down in Currumbin. So kind of a beach and Lilo type day, so they can all hang out and have a drink. So that's around Morton Bay Island and the gutter bar on the southern part. And as you can see, it's simply stunning. Can't complain with that one. So yeah, so hope everybody's had a great week. Welcome your comments. Adrian, welcome to the show. Belle, good to see you on. Belle, how are you getting on with that new Apex ski? Pretty sure you're having a bit of fun on it. Dave, good evening, all the way from New Zealand. Mate, stay safe. I know things are pretty bad over there at the moment. I've got an update in regards to one of the events over there this coming weekend. So we'll talk about that. I'll actually go to that just now. Actually, give me a moment and we'll get that up. Okay, so this is the quick roundup. We do this most weeks anyway. We usually do it at the start, depending on the guest or where they're coming from. I'll maybe leave it to the end. But yeah, this one here, 18th of February, 19th of February, down in the Southern Islands. Canterbury Jet Sports Club are hosting their championship, their Southern Island champs. Lake Roto, Ruto, I hope I've spelt that right, pronounced that right. Yeah, so that's taking part this weekend. The 19th of February as well, which is the Sunday, Welcome to Racing Training and Trials Day, which was to be hosted at Kinloch, has unfortunately had to be cancelled for obvious reasons with the adverse weather over there at the moment. So unfortunately, Jet Ski Racing New Zealand, I'm not entirely sure. I hope Dave, are you guys? Dave Venel's the one of the is involved with that particular organisation. Dave, are you planning to reschedule that Women's Day or the Come and Ride Day? Is there a plan to do that? Hopefully, maybe when things pick up. I'll wait and see if he answers that one. But February the 25th, 26th, we've got the New Zealand Nationals as well down in Wellington. Wellington Jet Sport Club are hosting that. And I was informed last week that we've actually got some Aussie representation as well, going to both the South Island Champs and to the Nationals. Billy Cunningham's going down, so good luck to you, Billy. Fly the flag and give it hell. I'm sure you'll do well over there. Good evening, Jake. We've got yeah, he's the only Aussie. I did hear a little story that Paul Baisley might have been going over, but I don't know if that was true or not. But Bailey's certainly gone. I was aware of that one last week and was asked to keep it quiet. One of the organisers there let it slip to me before Bailey wanted to announce it. But yeah, so good luck to him. Good luck to all the racers that are racing this weekend. Again, another shout out to those in New Zealand on the North Island, especially around the Auckland area. I know Auckland's bad. Dave, I'm assuming the whole of the North Island's got it pretty bad at the moment. So everybody's thoughts and prayers are with you guys at the moment. And good luck and stay safe. Okay, let's go New South Wales. There's quite a bit of action going on this weekend. Obviously down in New Zealand. We've got New South Wales have their next round, 5th round, at Chipping Norton this weekend. So this Sunday they got their comp in. Entries are still open at the moment, but they want them in, I believe it's by the end of tonight. If you miss out, I would imagine if you touch base with them, they might help you out. But it may depend on how rigorously they're enforcing the requirements to get your entries in. They don't want to leave it to the last minute because it just creates a lot of hassle and stress for the organisers, and that goes for all competitions, no matter where you're going. But New South Wales, obviously, they'd want to get all the entries in so they can get organised and get things ready to roll. So that's happening this weekend. One note with that particular event is if you haven't done your medical declaration, if you're registered with the AGSBA, make sure you've done your medical declaration. If you don't have it done, you won't be able to race. So don't, especially if you're driving down from Queensland, don't want to go all the way there and find out you can't race. Okay, so make sure you get that done. If you have any questions, contact the AGSBA or the New South Wales PWC Association. Let's go VJSBA. Guys, a big weekend this down in Victoria, down at Glen Maggie. Alex Ewan and his team have put together the first competition for Victoria this year. And having seen them race down there, not personally, but footage, it's a cracking venue and potentially the venue for nationals if the other arrangements don't work out. Yeah, that's happening this coming weekend on a Saturday and Sunday. Now, the Saturday is the scrutineering practice, and they do an assessment on racers, on beginners. If you're not up to scratch, they won't let you race for safety reasons. So make sure you're switched on and ready to roll. One of the things that the Victorias that I've noticed they always try to highlight is the need to have a helmet on, which is noticeable. So I think they posted a picture of the helmet somewhere. I can't remember where I saw it. It might have been Alex. This one here, that's what they're looking for. That kind of colour. There it is there. There, that's it. Let's see if I can get that. Can I bring that over? Wait a minute. Hang on. I don't know what to do. 2 seconds, guys. There. That's what they're looking for. So no dark helmets. Make sure it's the luminous type, bright, and it can be seen in the water. Okay, so that's what they're wanting. Back braces, obviously. Make sure your numbers are right as well. So they're really enforcing a lot of the basic stuff, but somehow people manage to forget it. Okay, so let's go. I think that's pretty much us just now. What I want to do is I want to give a shout out to Jake Braun as well. He's in the chat room at the moment. I'm not sure if he's still watching. He may have just kind of came in and out again. There is a ride organised this coming weekend as well, a recreational ride to Morton Island. Saturday, it's a 7 a.m. ride, organised obviously by Jake Braun. Alan Skinner, I believe, is involved with it as well. But there was the means or a request from the organisers that if you were planning to go, to let them know by, I think it was last night or today at some point, whether you were going so that they could help to organise a bit of catering. I'm not entirely sure what that consisted of, but if you still want to do the ride, I would imagine it wouldn't be an issue doing the ride. Obviously, you'll just miss out on any food or any catering. So, Jake, would that be the case? Would people still be able to come on the ride, even although they haven't gave any catering requirements to you or Alan? Would they still be all right to come, as long as they give you guys a heads up that they're coming? Would that be the case? Yes or no? See if we can get an answer. probably the one time he's flicked out of the. Yep. Okay. Yep. So you can still go. I believe the numbers are looking pretty healthy at the moment. So, Jake, I don't know what you're going to be contending with. Now, listen, people, if you're doing the ride, bear in mind it's not all happening from. They're not all departing from the same ramp. So my suggestion is you go to the Sea-Doo Jake Ride Day. There is an event page for it. There's some details on it. Get in touch with Jake or Alan. Ask them or find out what the ramps are in, which ramps are involved, because obviously there'll be multiple departures from North Side as well as Cleveland, Raby Bay, that kind of area, and then obviously the Gold Coast. So the Gold Coast lot are going to travel up. For me, if I'm going, it would be for me. I would be in at Cleveland, or I can go to Redland Bay or Vicky Point and go in there. But for others, it may be Scarborough or Bribie. So there are multiple departures for this. So touch base with the event page for it. Sea-Doo Jake Ride Day. Okay, and at Morton Island they're heading to. They've done it a number of times as well, so it should be a good one. And hopefully the weather's holding up for it. Hopefully it's a good day. I haven't looked at the weather myself, so anyway, no further ado. Let's move on. I've got. I just want to highlight this before we get our guest on. A couple of weeks ago, our guest Seb BAHADOURIan. Seb, I hope I'm pronouncing your surname correctly. I'm sure you'll correct me when you come on. But he had some gripes. Okay, now one of the things I want to do tonight is, if you've got a gripe or a positive things to say, get it out here. Get it on here. If you put the comments up, I'll read them out. I'll read them out on the show. We can talk about it and get some feedback from people through the chat room. Seb had an issue that he was a bit annoyed with, which I agree with. I'm going to flick it up. So for those of you that haven't seen it, he had an issue with just behaviour and etiquette on the water. Now, bear in mind this is down in New South Wales, but I thought it's quite applicable to us up here in Queensland and pretty much anywhere you jet ski. No matter where we are on the globe, it does seem to be a continual problem where you have a minority few people that do certain things which really paint us all in a bad light. Now, the concern obviously is drawing attention to the authorities, and then obviously there might be potential implications for that. So before I go any further, I'm going to get Seb on and we'll start talking about his little thing, and then we can open it up and hopefully people will give us some feedback in regards to what their gripes are or what their positives are, even, because it's not all about the negatives, because we do a lot of good things as well, and that is a focus. That's something that we want to focus on as well. So fingers crossed this works okay. He's online, so he should answer. Hopefully he's got his audio set up this time. Fingers crossed. Oh, connecting.
I'm here.
Yay! Seb, how you doing, mate?
Good, thanks.
Nice one. Now, obviously, let me just move this a little bit. Now, I've spoken obviously initially about the post that you put up. Do you want to give everybody the nuts and bolts of exactly what point you were trying to get over, to save them having to read it?
Yeah, sure. So I live in the Central Coast now. I was originally from Sydney, but I moved up to the Central Coast, and I'm not too far from a very popular spot where it's basically very accessible for anybody that lives in Sydney or around the Central Coast to come. It's a great area, so it's become very, very popular. And because I'm on the local community pages, obviously I see what others don't see. And that particular week, There was just a lot of a post basically with the locals just saying we're fed up, it's dangerous, and a lot of chatter, and it was all negative. And
Yeah.
basically, I was there as the only jet skier, sort of saying, "Hey guys, yep, some of it is true, some of it isn't." Some of it was like basically they were saying things they're not allowed there, or they're coming in too fast, or they're not allowed to park there. There was a lot of some things were right and some things were wrong. So I was basically saying there's a difference between you not liking something and somebody breaking the law. So I was there by myself and I was just getting hammered, to be honest. But and then I thought I'm going to share this because the public can't see it,
Yeah.
or I mean, fellow jet skiers may not see it. So I put it up there. But and the other thing is I pulled out of a lot of groups because I don't know. Some of the stuff, yes, some of it is banter, but some of it is really stupid. You'll say something like, "Don't do that," and somebody will say, "Oh, what are you, a policeman, or who do you
Yeah.
think you are?" Or you get targeted. So I've just pulled away, put it to the group of people, like so-called Facebook friends. So obviously, if they're on my page, they want to be there. If they don't want to be
Yeah.
there, they can go away. So yeah, that's basically been it. I had a couple of private messages from locals who said, yeah, it's not everyone, but they still feel it's the majority. So that's
Yeah.
the perception that we're getting, which is
Yeah.
obviously not great for the sport. But as you said, it's not that particular area. It's everywhere, but some areas are concentrated.
It definitely is. I know that we experience quite a lot of it. Now, I guarantee that there's some of the ones that are in the chat room just now will have experienced some kind of best word, stupidity, um, silly moves, all that kind of stuff. We've only also got to look at recently down in Victoria and see that they're starting to really clamp down on it as well. The locals have had enough at one of the beaches down there, but it's the minority that doing it. That's the problem because, we always seem to see it and we always identify it. It seems to be the weekend riders or people like you say that are from out with the area that don't know the area that well, and they just seem to have a bit of an attitude where, I don't live here. Let's just go hammer at it. Let's go hammer and tong, yeah, and just open it up, and then they leave, and then all the locals have got to pick up the pieces, like you're saying. Like, so that's what you're having to experience as well. And I know where you're coming from with the chat groups because, like, believe it or not, you even get that in a lot. There's a lot of jet ski ride groups are doing it as well. You
Well, that's
point
what I'm
out,
saying. That's what I'm talking about. It's the
yeah,
jet ski groups. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and you kind of wonder what the heck's going on if people that are in the community itself can't stand up to represent a better standard of rider, and act like hoons basically. It's the usual things, the speed restrictions, just going through them, breaking them. I know that there's a lot of inexperienced riders out on the water at the moment who haven't been to like some Moreton Bay, for example, Moreton Island, sorry. Now Moreton Island on its eastern side's got quite a lot of maritime park areas, and they're quite big. But a lot of people don't get off the plane and just basically idle through it because that's what you basically got to do. You can't open the throttle in the marine parks, and because they're that extensive, people are doing it. But the cops are just sitting there. Cops are just sitting there waiting for them. So again, it's the same thing. It's just, I think it's a bit of an experience, but I think there are a lot of people that really know what they're doing. They're not familiar with local areas or particular areas they're going to. But the biggest issue you have is that although they've been through a license and learned to ride the skis and get their license and stuff, that it should be teaching you a bit of common sense. Like for me, listen, I still get mixed up with some of the rulings in the rule book, but I use common sense. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't seem to use that. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Oh, 100%. And the thing is, the crazy thing is that it's also on the busiest day, on the most the busiest day, and it's also the busiest weekends, and when people are watching, and that's when people are being like, that's when these guys come out too. That's the problem. So
Yeah.
you've got, I believe you've got two or three types of, jet skis. You got the ones who, are passionate about the sport, and they ride in any conditions, any weather, any season. And generally, those guys, I'm going to say the majority. I'm just reading Dave's thing, and
Yeah.
I don't know about. I don't. I I don't agree with the minority, because I do see it a lot, and I know the ones in these times. It seems like it is the majority, because those people come out only in the hot days,
The
the
hot
sunny
days,
days,
the busy
the
days,
public
Australia Day.
the
Yeah.
public weekends, yeah, and they're the ones that, and then you go in the middle of winter, you're not going to see them, and thank God you won't. And that's the time where that kind of stops, and you
Yeah.
get very very little bit of that. But as I said, it's the speeding, but it's also the irregular riding, and it's also like, all they have to do is go a few hundred meters out where they're allowed to do it, but they choose to do it in front of the beach because they're showing off to a
Yeah.
mate, or, as you said, some people have got a license and they don't know the rules, or they kind of do, or worse still, I believe, you can just see the way they get on, or the way they're acting. They don't have a license. There's
Yeah.
ones even that
That
don't
that
have a license, and their
I
mates are
would
giving them the steering.
I would believe that's a high percentage of the bad ones
Yes.
up our way. I would definitely
Yeah.
agree with that one, like, up our way. I don't like, obviously you believe it's the same down in where you are as well. It would be interesting to find out if others thought the same, with it being, I don't know what Dave's thoughts are on New Zealand, and George Marquis or whatever down in Victoria, whether they've got that same kind of, like, from what we've said and what we've seen in the news articles and the news stories from Victoria. I'd agree with what we've just said. It seems to be a load of people that don't have licenses, and have just happened to jump on a ski.
Yeah.
Now they're all disappearing because the cops are sitting there waiting on them now.
Yeah.
So they're aware of that. They're
Yeah.
steering well clear of it. But it's definitely an issue. It's definitely a massive issue. And one of the other ones that I got recently as well, and it was a couple of weeks before your comment went up on Facebook, and I think I asked a question: who's actually insured? Who's actually insured their jet ski to rate? And there was a number of people came back and said, "No, I don't have insurance."
Mm.
And I'm like, why would you not insure something that A, is a missile and has a capacity to kill people quite easily? I just blew my mind that it wasn't. I would say I didn't get many people saying they had a license. It's that they had insurance. It was mainly people saying, "No, I don't have it." And then one, if I remember correctly, I think one of them was, "Oh, I didn't even realize I needed it."
Yeah.
Like, I understand it's a choice, and that's fair enough, but there was a couple of them thought they had CTP.
Yeah.
They thought they had the
Yeah.
CTP on it, and I was just like, "Whoa, hang on a minute. Is this something that should be included in the get your license? About making them aware of that." There's Dave Venel said, "We don't have a license requirement. If you can afford it, you can have it. Go from no experience and buy the latest 300."
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Like, Dave, to defend that to an extent, I would like the fact that there's no licensing required, meaning it's just that kind of, I find that one a bit bizarre. UK is exactly the same. UK doesn't have a licensing requirement either. As far as going to buy the latest 300 weapon, well, to be honest, when I got my license, I already had my 300. So I actually got it before I even had my license. I think it's changed now, where you can't get it unless you've got your license. But I jumped straight onto a 300. I was shit scared of it though. Yeah. So I certainly wasn't opening it up until I got used to it. But it's just bizarre that some of the things that people don't have, like they're not insured obviously for their ski, which means their trailer's not insured either. And if anything happens on the motorway when they're heading down there, damn, they're going to kill a few people there, or at least be a serious accident there with a trailer or whatever, especially if a burden comes off a trailer, you know. Yeah, it's just, I don't know if it's naivety or people just trying to save money, or just don't care,
I think
and it's the same with the riding, the way they ride. A lot of them just don't care.
with the insurance, it's a bit of both. I think there are genuinely people that don't know, but there's also, as people do spend the money on the ski, but they don't want to spend on the accessories or other things. Like, obviously, being in the industry as well now, you see people not wanting to spend on maintenance, you see people not wanting to spend on insurance or anything else but the ski. So they've got their 20, 30, whatever $1,000. And they go put it down, but then the minute you say, "Oh, it's going to cost you," "Oh, no," or whatever. But you've got to. But going back to the behaviour, the one thing, because it's very hard to police. Like, you can't be a vigilante. I can't go out there and try to stop everybody. I'll either get myself, I'll probably get bashed or something stupid like that, or whatever. But what you can do is if you've got if you're on a group ride, or we've all got somebody that we know that does break the rules or doesn't do the right thing, and just say, "Hey, I'm not going to ride with you." And I think, and explain to them why, and hopefully they get the message. Because it's pretty boring. I mean, yes, we all like to ride by ourselves sometimes, but you might get the message then. I think what happens is, if you see somebody who's doing those things, then just, that's what you can do on your bit is stop it. Or if you share that message, I think there's a lot of people that are scared to say, "Hey, we want to be safe." We're not saying you have to be, Captain Slow. You can still go out and speed in the right area. You can still get the
exactly.
adrenaline.
You've got to really be a bit smart about where you're opening it up. What potentially, like, a lot of people just do it, or they just hoon around and donuts, all that kind of stuff. But they're doing it, like you're saying, they're doing it too close to the shoreline, or doing too close to something that shouldn't, other swimmers or whatever, But there's a guy got done just recently down in Victoria for spraying some people on a boat, and good on them, good on the cops for charging them for it. To me that was just stupid. There's Matty. Matty says the problem in New South Wales and Sydney is when a ski gets stolen, chances of the insurance actually paying out is very low. Heard of many horror stories of insurance companies doing everything they can not to pay out, unfortunately. Yeah, I get that, Matty. And I've heard a lot of stories about insurance. Does that not seem to be insurance companies in general, though? No matter what it is of an insurance.
I suppose if you get a very low value on your jet ski, and it has the public liability component still in it, so you could go from there, maybe. That'd be an option. I'm not 100% sure. But I mean, I heard of the same thing. You said spraying the boat. I heard from the police. Somebody did that to a police boat up here. That wasn't filmed, but it's just ridiculous. Like, as I said, people just
what an idiot. What an idiot. Like, what possessed them to be a smart ass and think, "Hey, I'm going to spray the cops"?
But I mean, if you want to, as I said, if you want to do irregular riding, go out in the ocean, and away from another jet ski, do it. Or if you want to show off, or you want to show how good you are, why don't you join one of the race clubs? And a lot of those guys that talk big, I've seen a few of them. They're like, "Oh, I'm this, I'm that, blah, blah, blah." And they come to one round and you never see them again because they were at the back of the pack, or because they found it, whatever. So, and I'm not saying just because you race, you're great or anything. I'm just saying, if you need to take out that adrenaline, or you want to show off a little bit, come and join in and do it, or do it in the right place, or go on one of these. I get people coming up and they say, "What's the fastest ski? I want the fastest ski." And I said, "Well, have you ridden one yet?" "No." "Oh, I rode one once on holidays." And I'm like, "Well, you don't need the fastest ski.
No,
Oh no, I have to. And I say, well, have you ever ridden in chop or big swell? No.
no.
So well, if you go out there, I guarantee you can't tell the difference what you're on if you're in the if you've
Exactly,
got a
exactly, exactly, exactly.
I mean
Like
last year
yeah, I got the like Seb. You've been jet skiing probably a hell of a lot longer than I have, and I got the luxury a few weeks ago when I went out with Daz Keogh and Billy Briggs, and I got a shot of both their skis, and he had Daz had a Trix, Spark Trix, and obviously Billy's got his RX PX 300, which like is an absolute weapon. It went like an absolute missile. Daz's Trix was quite a bit different. The whole feel and the ergonomics of it just felt a bit. My confidence level wasn't exactly the best on it. I felt a bit exposed. Whereas Billy's was completely different. Now I've got a 300 myself, obviously an Ultra Kawasaki LX, but like I would never touch Billy's. I would never touch Billy's for pace. Yeah, it's just like there's a huge difference in the riding. Although I did get a shot of Daz's GTI 170.
yeah.
Yeah, I did get a shot of that one a couple of weeks later, and that was a completely different ride, and that really does ride pretty nice. To the point where I've been making inquiries about one. So, but I might go for the GTX. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can.
But
We went. I had the pleasure of going last year. I'm missing out this year, unfortunately. I'm going to catch up with them, some of them, but they did. I did jet track, and the
oh yeah,
conditions weren't. They were up and down, and apart from the elites, maybe 10 that were there, the other 90 people that were riding, they were riding all kinds of skis, and you could rarely tell the difference in the power unless it was glass.
yeah, exactly,
Usually it was,
exactly,
yeah, yeah.
exactly,
So,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
like I must admit, I did enjoy riding Daz's, his GTI.
yes,
That
good
was a
stuff.
nice ride. And I'm kind of thinking, like I've said this before on a previous episode, that I want to move. I'm thinking about moving away from supercharged because I don't really need it.
Yeah,
It's not all about the pace. It's cruising. I prefer to do my cruises when I go out with Jeff, with Daz, or whatever. So it's not about racing or speeding or getting ahead of anybody. So yeah, it's definitely something I'm looking into at the moment. But the thing was, Kawasaki then brought out this new 160 and kind of threw the whole spanner in the works, and I'm just kind of like, do I go and look at that and see what the go is with that? But I do like Daz's, so I'm certainly leaning that way at the moment, but we'll see what happens. So, but anyway, yeah.
uh,
So
yeah,
the ride experience is definitely something that a lot of people don't take for granted. And like you said, they're all seasonal riders. A lot of them have probably ridden a jet ski up at Hamilton Island or something like that, or they've probably ridden it in Santorini or wherever, and they think, hey, I'm going to get a jet ski when I get home, but they don't realise licenses and the etiquette, and it's just, it blows my mind. Like the insurance one was the biggest one for me. That just totally blew my mind. That people were choosing to do that, and just like, God, you're taking a real big chance if something goes wrong. And things do go wrong, and when it does, there's no comeback from it. So but
yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a problem everywhere. It's definitely a problem
Yeah,
everywhere.
going back on the locals in any given area, whether it's the area that I live in or whether it's down south. I know that there's problems in Sydney South.
Yeah,
I know you said Melbourne. I know you said Queensland. It's everywhere. I had somebody contact me after that comment from the States saying, "Hey, we've got the same problem."
yeah,
But what's happening is, phones and cameras are getting so good. People are recording stuff, and they're putting it out there on posts, or they're giving it to the authorities. I think it's a matter of time before people start getting caught and
yeah,
prosecuted, and maybe that's a good thing,
yeah,
and it might scare a few people into doing the right thing.
yeah,
But as I said, I think the way that an individual can help is to make sure that if they're riding with someone, make sure that they're licensed, and also if they are doing the wrong thing, just say, hey, either stop it or I'm not going to ride with you. That's
Yeah.
the only solution I can see from
Yeah.
my end, without further
No,
policing
exactly,
and
and
government.
like the good thing that we've got going at the moment is thankfully we've got a lot of beginners. There's a lot of new people getting jet skis up this way just now, and I don't know if it's maybe this. It could be the same with you, but we've got a lot of rides get organised up here at the moment, and there's a lot of beginners are asking, "Can we come with you? Can we tag along with you?" And even if even if it's just one person that's just asking, "Hey, I'm thinking about going over to Morton Island, but I've never done it before. Is there anybody else going over so I can tag along that's experienced?" And there's usually a few people do message and say, "Yeah, we're heading over." So a lot of the beginners are not as confident to do the big rides. I think that's what it is. Plus, they're also want to pick up little tips and hints and stuff like that to help them, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
As long as we as experienced riders are not teaching them the bad things, you know.
100%.
But like you say, as everybody, if we're seeing something that's not quite right, we're usually trying, we'll point it out, or we'll just say, listen, I can't ride with you again. So as simple as that. But yeah, there's a lot of people just don't give a shit about all that though. They just, this with this day and age with the phones and stuff, it's just asking for something to happen, and it's going to get caught on film quite easily.
Yeah, yeah.
But sorry, I'm reading a comment there that's just came in, quite a big one.
Thanks.
I think that's to do with the racing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a race thing. It's a race thing. So, okay. Guys, interested to find out if anybody's got any comments in regards to that. I know there's been some good, interesting feedback on that. Is that everybody's experience? Has that been the same sort of thing that you see or you witness on a every time you go out, or every so often when you go out? I'm pretty sure it's across the board. I would think with most people that we see something somewhere that's not quite right. And your dilemma, Seb, and everybody's dilemma is: do you actually approach them and speak to them about it, or do you just go, "Nah, it's all right"? And I think it's too many loose cannons at the boat ramp these days, so
Yeah.
you just back off and hope that nothing bad happens. Maybe we
Yeah.
should just go and do it, but at what risk to ourselves if we do that? So,
Yeah.
like you said, the only hope is if it's in group rides, then you can just have a quiet word with them because they're there as in friendly terms. So if they get upset about it, there's nothing you can do about it. At the end of the day, they need to take it on board if it's not quite right. So
Yeah, that's right. Look, the ultimate thing that can happen, um, with this kind of riding is obviously you hurt someone or yourself,
yeah,
or you kill someone. So
yeah,
that's the highest price that, or the worst thing that's going to happen. The next
yeah,
the next level is you're going to upset other people that don't ride, who don't understand our sport and don't like us. They're just going to have more fuel to the fire. And eventually, I feel that may result in areas that, certain areas being banned or
yeah,
certain conditions placed, and that's going to upset those people that truly love the sport. So
yeah,
I think that's the three levels. Obviously, the utmost one is the safety, and that's the reason why we police this thing, is to make sure that people don't get hurt, whether it's yourself or somebody else.
yeah,
But
exactly.
then the consequences are people's emotions, and then ultimately bans and stopping our sport, which is
Yeah.
obviously something that would upset likes of you and me and everybody on this chat, because we're all passionate about riding and our sport. So
Well, I think the
yeah,
people that are commenting on this tonight are obviously pretty passionate about it.
yeah,
There's Stoops on through YouTube. He said there's definitely too many loose cannons. He's happy to be corrected by friends, or to correct his friends, or to be corrected by them. And he
yeah,
just thinks that there's a lot of people on the war that just don't care or think about it in this way. They just don't care about anyone other than themselves. Yep, totally agree with that one. Yeah, and
yeah,
that's
100%.
unfortunate. And I think us as a community, the only thing we can really do is obviously correct our close circle of friends if they're doing anything wrong. But from the wider community, I think social media will help us because we can use that platform to highlight things. Like obviously we're doing this just now. Who's going to see it? I don't know. Like the majority of people that are probably watching this just now will probably be the experienced riders anyway, and they're passionate about what they do. So they make sure they're doing the right thing. But it's right. The minority is definitely going to kill it for us. It's going to really cause an issue for us. And as you're saying, certain areas, like, is that one of the reasons why Sydney Harbour got no?
Oh, look, that was a long time ago, and yeah, that's what what was said at the time. It was because, sorry, the cat's pushing over the phone. Go away. Um,
Going on?
she's had enough. But that was the reasons that they said. But who knows? There was a lot of a lot of speculation that it was because the wealthy people didn't want it or whatever. But ultimately, they did have an incident, and they used that to their advantage to get what they wanted.
And that's all it takes.
So, yeah. So we don't want that. Yeah, we don't want that spreading. I mean, a lot of people use that, and a lot of people, I get it all the time. People opening up Sydney Harbour, and I think that I don't believe it will ever happen, and I don't see it being a good thing anymore because it is a very busy place.
It's a busy place.
Yes, people talk about it concentrates it to other areas, but we've got so much waterways. We don't have to concentrate. One of the things I said is, don't go to the same places. Go or go out in the ocean. A lot of people just stick to the rivers or the bays. You can go out in the ocean if the conditions are right. Obviously, you have to look at the conditions, and my advice is never go alone.
We've always advocated that here. It's like, guys, if you're gonna do these big rides, if you're gonna do out in the ocean, back yourself up with someone else or a couple of other riders with you. And that way, if anything happens, you can help each other out.
Yeah, it's not even the brand of ski, because I know that the jokes will start about the ski sinking or whatever. But the thing is,
never.
Yeah, you can get hit by a rogue wave, and you could end up apart from your ski or whatever. So I mean, I would never ride alone in the ocean personally. I would take 2 or 3 people, but that's much more fun and challenging, and get out there rather than going in the same spot all the time. So mix it up a bit. But what I'm going to take on before you have to get rid of me is that
take your time, mate. We got
time. But unfortunately or fortunately, the people that are probably listening to this are all the ones that are probably do the right thing and are passionate. So the message is, I'm just like preaching to the people that already know. But so we want to get it out there to all kinds of riders, and I might put down a challenge. I don't know when or how, but anybody that's got a following of any sort, whether it be on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, I challenge those guys, the ones with the numbers. Maybe we, can have one simple message, pop it up there, or maybe you do a version of your own message and share that as a story. It doesn't have to go on your post, so you don't ruin your, the look of your page or whatever. Just a story maybe. And if all those, like I know there's lots of females with a lot of followers. I know there's lots of guys with a lot of. There's companies. There's so maybe the challenge is to get people like that sharing a message maybe every 3 or 4 months, not something daily or anything like that.
That's the thing. We challenge all our experienced riders to spread that word, and if we can influence one person, one other rider outside of the circle, then it's job done. So we can hopefully slowly expand it. So the challenge to everybody that's listening to this or watching this, like Seb has said, is come up with a nice little slogan or something, quick and easy to understand, that highlights the riding. Be sensible about your riding, and be responsible. Then hopefully, if we can get that message out, like I'd love to see, if someone can come up with one really good one, I'll happily share it, and I'll pin it to the top of my page, top of the Jetski Republic page, and I'll put it out every couple of months or whatever, just to keep everybody on their toes. Okay.
That's
So
right.
so we're raising awareness to the less experienced, but we're also raising the challenge to the experienced. Get the word
Yeah,
out
and
there. Well
also
done,
just
Seb. I
maybe
love it.
a gentle reminder to all of us. Anyway, yeah.
Yes, it is, and I think that's the thing as well. We've got to remember, we've got to keep remembering what we do as well. We've got to keep that in mind, that we've got to be responsible about what we do. So if we
Yeah.
can lead by example, then even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, even good. Okay, listen. Before I get rid of you, are you racing this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a go. Yeah.
Give it a go. What do you mean? What you hurting or something? Or is it
No,
ski?
no, no, no. I mean, I'll always, I'll probably, no, no, I just was a little bit, it was the first race of the year, and, um, I didn't feel like I was on top of it. So hopefully this round I'll be a little bit more switched on, and yeah, so I can ride a little bit better again. I think I
You
was, yeah,
maybe the first time you were out, you maybe didn't have your lucky wee mascot. That what's the dog's name again?
Lolo and Leo. But yeah, no, I think it's just no, I think it's just you got to be mentally and
Yeah.
physically prepared, and I don't think I was either. Hopefully
Well,
this time I'm a little bit 10% better than last time,
we
so
won't
that'll
talk
help.
about you
So,
coming off.
I don't know. No, that was a few rounds ago now. That's we've forgotten that.
I was trying to go back to that. We'll move on.
Well,
um,
it surprised me more than anyone,
yeah, I
because
think everybody was surprised when they saw you coming off. So it was like, oh
well,
my god.
not because of my riding ability, but because the RXP, as you said, you rode it, and when with that seat, and I've done ocean rides, I've done so much social and racing, and I've never come off that model since 21 when that RXP, the new version, came out. I've never come off that ski. That was the first. I've been on many.
Hey, there's
I've
always
been
a
on many other
first.
skis that
There's
have
always a
thrown me off,
first.
but not that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stoops on YouTube, he's actually said, now remember also to check your flares, people. Make sure your flares are in date. Now, that also applies to Mr. Daz Keel. He went to go out on a ride and then realised his flares were out of date. So, luckily he wasn't... luckily he checked them before he went. That was only a few weeks ago. Right, Seb, I'm going to let you go, mate. You want to have a shout out to anybody before you go?
Oh no, just basically, yeah. Look, to what I do want to say is just to the racing community and the committees. I know that they cop a lot of flack because sometimes they can't get the what people want because the timing or the location or whatever. And I know how hard they work. So I want to say thank you to all the committees around there, and basically to all the riders that ride and do the right thing. Thank you,
Yeah.
and the ones that don't, please pull your head in.
Yep. Well said, mate. Well said. Well
Yeah.
said. All right, Seb, all the best, mate, and good luck
Okay.
this
Thank you.
weekend. All
Thanks
right,
for
take it
letting me.
easy.
Yeah.
No
Thank you.
problem.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Absolute pleasure. See ya. So there we go. Seb got a few things to say. Interesting conversation there. That was really nice. Actually, I appreciate that one. So there we go. So the outcome from that is obviously we're highlighting to our experienced riders about etiquette and responsibility, which is never really a problem of us as such. We maybe have our own little moments, but the challenge is to get that message out to everyone else who is maybe not as responsible, a bit of a hound mentality, so to speak, less experienced, seasonal riders that just come out for the holidays, for the public holiday weekends. So the idea is if we can come up with something that we can share and put out there. I'm intrigued to find out if anybody's got any things that we could write, slogans, captions, or headings or something that could highlight that. Send them in to me. I'm happy to send them to me, and we can have a look through them. I can do a little piece next week where we can talk about it. We can talk about, here's one here, here's this one here. which ones do you guys think? What do so we can have a bit of a discussion about it as well, and you guys can give us feedback on that as well. So Stoops, especially to your mates that have been introduced to the sport because of you, teach them the right way. Exactly, Stoops. Well done. I think we all want to do that because we don't want our mates to come, to injure themselves or to injure anyone else, and we certainly don't want them to get speeding tickets or reckless behaviour on the water. So yeah, some interesting points, guys. I thank you for your contributions in that little discussion there, or big discussion. It's interesting to see, like what I'm getting from the comments there is obviously there's a passion there for the community to do the right thing, which is great to see. And as Seb said, the challenge now is for us to try and spread that message out. It doesn't seem to be getting through if they're licensed, through their licensing process. It seems to be a bit of a wild ticket that once they've got their license, if they have their license, to just go out on the water and just go absolutely mad and don't care about where they're going, who they're close to, all that kind of stuff. So, Sarah, a little bit of advertising in that one. I like it. We're hashtagging it as well. So what's that? Jet Smart and Safe. Jet Pilot Smart and Safe. That's actually quite a good hashtag. Actually, it's not too bad. Nice one. Okay, Sarah, I'll take that one on board. Guys, inbox me. Send them to me. Your ideas. Happy to go through them next week if we get a sufficient number. Quick reminder again, Sea-Doo Jake, Ride Day. Check the event page, happening on Saturday at 7 a.m. from multiple boat ramps. You need to check out the events page if you're interested in going. There has been some catering organised for it, but that was for those that have already committed to it. I think you might have passed a deadline for it, so make sure you bring some food with you, just in case they're not stopping it anywhere where you can buy anything. Stoops, the problem with the license is that you basically there are a number of places that will basically just spoon feed you through it, and you're not really taking in anything as such or learning anything as such. But they usually you get, for us here in Queensland, I don't know about everywhere else, we've had to do the boating license first. So you do the boating license and then the PWC. So my feeling is a lot of people are not doing the PWC part of it, and they might only be doing the boat. So if anything, they're only picking up about markers and tide and stuff like that, So, and even then, it can be, unless you're experienced around the waters, you can still mix up the markers if you're not aware of of where you are. But yeah, it's interesting. Everybody seems to have a different way of doing things as far as licenses. But I think the biggest issue is they're not licensed and they're seasonal riders that just come out for the holidays. Stoops, it is pretty easy. I remember my kids did it as well. My son was what was he? My daughter was just turning 16, and my son was 18 at the time. So he passed his, and so did my daughter. But they've had the sense, or my son had the sense, he had a bit of a scare on the ski not long after he got his license, and he's just never went back out on the ski again. So he's like, nah, I've tried it, I don't want to do it, fine. So it was enough. It's not quite for him. My daughter unfortunately doesn't get my ski because I'm too busy using it myself. So unlucky daughter. All right. So So remember that event for Sea-Doo Jake, Saturday, 7 o'clock, multiple ramps. Get on the events page. Find out where the departure points are and who will be at those departure points. I'm still not entirely sure if I'm going to be leaving to go. If I do go, I most likely will go from Cleveland Boat Ramp, but I'll be there early because I want to make sure I get parked if I'm going to be there. So I'll put a little comment up in my page, just in the event, just to say if I'm going or not. So if people want to go from Cleveland Ramp, they can join me if they want. But check the event page so that you know whether I'm going or not, or if someone else might be going from Cleveland Ramp. Okay, right, guys, that's me for this week. Great show, really enjoyed it. Thanks for everybody that's tuned in. Thanks for all the comments. Really appreciate it. I'm going to leave you with a video now. It is one that I actually was meant to show last week, but because I got inundated with a few other videos, I kind of prioritized them based on the part of the show in which I wanted to use them. So this one's a little bit longer, which is why I wanted to keep it for the end. It's Rebecca Hales up at the Whitsundays again. It's stunning footage. Oh, Billy, dear me, you missed a good one, mate. You better watch it on YouTube or Facebook. All right. So I'm going to leave you with it. I'm going to sign off with this video from Rebecca Hales up in beautiful part of the world, way up north at the Whitsundays. Hopefully we'll get up there soon myself and get on my ski there. Guys, I thank everybody for tuning in. Hopefully we'll bump into each other out on the water. I'm sure some of you will meet up. If I see you on Saturday, if you're out on Saturday on this ride, come and see me. Come and say hi. I'll be doing likewise. Have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of your week. When you're out on the weekend or any other time in the water, be safe. Look after yourself. Have some fun. Till next week, guys. Take care.
Take me home, take me on a ride. I got a good feeling about the colors lighting up your eyes. Take me home, take me to the sky. I got a good feeling. Tell me the only thing you are is mine now. Na, 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 na. I got a good feeling. Na, 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 na. I got a good feeling. Good feeling. You wanna know is how to hold on to it every moment. Dive into it like my love is an ocean. It's overflowing. I swear it's golden. So good that I'm rolling. Baby, you make me crazy. I'm seeing roses. Baby, just maybe you save me. Oh, take me home, take me on a ride. I got a good feeling about the colors lighting up your eyes. Take me home.